Hello, Patriots. How are we doing? Oh, it's snowing here, man. It is snowing. So I showed you this video yesterday at the end.
Is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one
For the information that we have
in the files.
in the case file.
Okay.
So Kash Patel saying there was no evidence of females or victims being trafficked. And then, so one of the biggest things that's come from the big Epstein file release is a lot of normies asking what the word goyim means, because it turns up in so many of these files. Like here, Jeffrey Epstein to Roger Shank. This is the way the Jew make money and made a fortune in the past 10 years. So this was in 2009. Selling short the shipping futures, let the goyim deal in the real world. From shipping news, the most dramatic growth has been in shipping futures, which allows shipping companies to lay off risks. So yeah, it carries on like that, but you see there, let the goyim deal in the real world. So goyim is their word for us, non-Jews, and it's literally, it means that we're less than cattle, pretty much. And you know me, I view animals in quite high regard, but yeah, to them, we're meant to be seen like vermin, and that's, yeah. And then you've got Lord Mandelson, this picture here, where he's in his tighty whities. This is the guy that Keir Starmer had so much, what's the word, so much trust in. Do you know, he wanted him to be the American envoy dealing over there, and the Americans were like, no, we're not having it. And now Keir Starmer's having to, yeah, he's pretty much showing his true colours, because he's backtracking, but that's simply the Labour thing lately, do you know, backtracking on everything that they said. But yeah, so now he's wanting Lord Mandelson to be investigated, and that's good. Lord Mandelson should be investigated. Every single person that's on that list needs to be investigated for the sake of our own people more than anything, do you know? But do you know the two people that are not on the Epstein list? The one that everyone's been calling crazy for the past couple of decades, Big Mel, he's not on the list. Who else is not on the list? The one in America that they keep targeting, Thomas Massey. Do you know he refuses to take money from APAC, and yeah, Trump hates him for it. And I do think that Thomas Massey's got the American people's interest at heart. So he's got the nation's interest at heart. Like, he's a family man. He lives off the land. Like, but he admits that he lives off the land because he's financially able to. It's like pretty much impossible to start going off the grid nowadays, and it's by design. Where to go next? Where to go next? So AngloSpirit, you'll always see me waving these tins about and posting my link so that you can get yourself some. But they are bringing about a new tin for their new, because these are 4 milligrams. So they've got these new bad boys coming that will be 8 milligrams. And what's great about AngloSpirit and why I use them is because everything's natural. It's all British as well. There's no horrible chemicals in there or anything. It's all nicotine, peppermint, and yeah, pretty much it, you know. But they're class, so clean. They leave your gums and teeth feeling very clean as well. And the more I've looked into it, it turns out that that's pretty much what they should do. Whereas when you stick in these other pouches, like, you feel your gums almost, they feel like they're starting to bubble, kind of like under the surface, and that's the chemicals in them that are not natural and should not be in there. So yeah, if you like pouches or you want to stop smoking or something like that, AngloSpirit's definitely the way to go. My links, the link for them is always in the description, and using my link, I think with 10 tins you get some money off. So yeah, top boys. Another big announcement is from the Aberdeen Against Illegal Migration team that I stand shoulder to shoulder with. One, because Aberdeen's my city, and two, because they're exactly the same as me. They're working class troops, men, women, that just want their people to be safe. And because they, like, this group started up in like Hazelhead area, like Maastricht, Northfield, Tillydrone, Seaton, that areas, they're the people that have been getting smashed by the immigration in Aberdeen before the masses started waking up to the problems we were facing. But so it's through them that I've met these women who have daughters that have the asylum seekers have attempted to groom using the dominoes on the Langstract to try and entice them into the hotel there. But so they're a brilliant group, really top group of patriots, and that's why I will always stand shoulder to shoulder with them. They stand shoulder to shoulder with me as well. They know me personally. They know I'm not this evil fire-breathing monster. They know I just want to reset the balance. I just want what's best for our people. But this is the post they've put out. Big update and initiative from AIM, Aberdeen Against Illegal Migration. And you're probably already noticing that it says Unite the Clan Scotland at the top, rather than Aberdeen Against Illegal Migration. Hi folks, we've been discussing ways to reach more people across Scotland. Sorry folks. After some thought, we feel a rebrand makes sense. Using Aberdeen in the name can give the impression it's only relevant to one area, when the message is actually about Scotland as a whole. We also recognise that some wording may have turned people away too quickly, rather than encouraging conversation and engagement. That's why we are looking to rebrand as Unite the Clan Scotland, a name focused on unity, identity, and standing together as a nation. We're proud to be working with people across Scotland as we launch a new homeless appeal to help those suffering on our streets. We'll be providing basic necessities, including hats, gloves, scarves, socks, hoodies, trousers, and jackets, along with soup and tea and coffee. While the government finds unlimited funds to house and support asylum seekers, thousands of Scots are left homeless and with no help. If the government won't prioritise them, then we will. Thanks to Scottish Freedom Patriots and Protector of Scotland, thank you for working alongside us to help bring this initiative across Scotland and start making a real difference for our own communities. Any groups across Scotland are warmly invited to join and support us, and support this cause and the growing movement. Wish list below for anyone that would like to help and get involved. Any companies, etc., for food donations would be massively appreciated. And then you've got the new emblem, Unite the Clan Scotland, and the links there as well. But how amazing is this? How amazing is this? We've been talking about how to reach the people that aren't really involved in politics and that. And I think that this is going to be great because it means that everyone can start singing off the same hymn sheet. We can get a bit organised, and that's what we really need. We really need to get organised. And with us all being under the same banner, we can all push the same message that our people, our homeland, our people should always come first. Always come first. I mean, look at this. This is from GB News the other day. Exclusive. British taxpayers forced to spend £350 million teaching migrants to speak English. Surely that should have already been a prerequisite for coming here. Do you know? Speak our language so that you can communicate with our people. But that's £350 million that we can go on our people. If you're one of those that has been finding your budget has been getting tighter, your bills getting higher, you're having less money to put away or spend on your family, spend on yourself. That's £350 million that could be making your life a little bit easier. And that's why I put out the big post yesterday. With this rebrand happening, it's very important for people to understand my politics, understand me a bit better, so that you can see that just because we may think slightly differently doesn't mean I'm gonna turn you away. So here's what I put up. I said, you do not have to fully agree with my politics to stand next to me. if you believe there's a better way for our people in our ancestral homeland, I will stand next to you, shoulder to shoulder, no matter your political affiliations. That's a promise. No matter your political affiliations, if you believe in a better way for our people, I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you. But the minute your politics puts a foreigner over my people in our ancestral homeland, you're no longer an ally. We have to be honest about the fact that things are not working the way they're going. That is all we have to agree on, that there must be a better way because things are not working for our people. This is our ancestral homeland. We should be put first. We should be put number one in every decision, in every policy that comes out. It should always benefit our people. And too often, our leaders ask the question, how is it going to affect others, rather than how is it going to affect the native population of Britain? Do you know, whether it's Scotland, England, Wales? And they never consider us. I mean, look, it's John Swinney.
Refugees are welcome here.
Refugees are welcome here. Were you asked? Did you give your permission? Because I didn't. Do you know, none of us were asked. And yet, now we've got this, the grooming gangs. Like, I love the fact that Rupert Lowe put his head above the parapet. He's showing that people that have got a big bank balance can, if they have the bottle, if they've got that moral courage, they are willing to risk it all for the vulnerable. And this was his opening statement from the rape gang inquiry yesterday. Sorry, the grooming gang inquiry.
Today, we confront one of the gravest moral failures in British history. For decades, children across the United Kingdom, from as young as 4 years old, were groomed, trafficked, raped, beaten, tortured, drugged, impregnated, criminalised, murdered, and psychologically destroyed by organised groups of men and women. These were not relationships, bad choices, or lovesick teenagers, nor were they prostitutes or little white slags. These were sustained campaigns of exploitation against children who were terrified, vulnerable, and systematically trapped. Children were degraded, they were humiliated, they were controlled through violence, threats, drugs, alcohol, and terror. Children forced to carry weapons, sell drugs, and commit murder. They were forced to dig their own graves, petrol poured over them and set on fire, scriptures from the Quran read out whilst they were being gang raped. Young children placed inside microwaves, ovens, and freezers in an attempt to murder them. Ouija boards used to call on spirits and demons, animals killed and used in sexual acts against children, and children forced to abuse and rape other children. Many were passed from rapist to rapist like a piece of meat. Some did not survive their exploitation, suicide, substance abuse, and murder. This was never just about sexual gratification or money. It was about power, about domination, about breaking a child's sense of self until they believed escape was impossible and help would never come. Years later, they were told by professionals they must take medication or their children could be removed from their care. If they spoke publicly, they would lose custody. Victims were told they are too damaged by their trauma to care for their own children. They were then removed and placed into the care system and trafficked. Rapists have been invited into the lives of the victims' children. Children born from their crimes were forced into contact and custody with the men that raped their mothers by social workers and the family courts. The professionals who should have protected them did not and still aren't. This inquiry is exposing something equally horrifying: the scale of institutional failure. Warning signs were there, reports were made, patterns emerged, DNA ignored, and evidence destroyed. Yet again and again, professionals dismissed victims as troubled, promiscuous, or consenting. Children in care were written off, raped by staff and sold on to gangs. Children from troubled homes were judged and blamed instead of safeguarded. Parents were threatened with fines and arrest if they continued to try and safeguard their children. Files were closed. Opportunities to intervene were missed or avoided. Police officers abused and raped the children and handed them back to the men that raped them, while social workers looked the other way, which allowed the predators to thrive. Whistleblowers were targeted, threatened, and silenced. And yes, politics played a role. Political parties sacrificed children for votes. When leaders hesitate to confront abuse because the issue is uncomfortable, children pay the price. Far too many children paid the price because people didn't want to be called racist or Islamophobic. This inquiry will not hesitate. We will follow evidence wherever it leads, into institutions, into systems, into cultures of silence, and into any place where truth has been buried. No race, religion, profession, no agency, no office is beyond scrutiny. To the survivors, you were children. You were not to blame, you were failed. This country should have protected you, and it did not. The true scale of what has happened and is still happening is far too large for our inquiry and will take many years to unravel. The majority of victims and families may never receive any form of justice, but that does not mean that we as an inquiry cannot be ambitious enough to try. I would like to thank MP Rupert Lowe for setting up the inquiry when our own government refused. My team for all their hard work. It's been a hard and emotional journey, and one we are still on. But more importantly, I would like to thank every participant that has worked with us and will continue to work with us after the hearings. The strength, determination and bravery of survivors of this evil crime never fail to amaze me.
So that was Sammy Woodhouse speaking there. She was a victim of the Rotherham grooming gangs, had a child at, it was either 12 or 14. She has been through the absolute ringer. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You do not have to fully agree with my politics to oppose this. Do you know, mine and Sammy's politics are different, but we believe that this should never happen again to the young children. That's what they were. They were young children. The young children that have been systematically raped on an industrial scale, and it was covered up by the police and by politicians. Like, this should have never been political, but it needs to be political. This is why you can say that my politics are terrible, but my politics will never allow this to happen again, because the police would not be able to cover this up under a nationalist government. The government would not be able to cover this up under a nationalist government. I will do everything in my power to protect the women, children, the vulnerable, the men, the boys of Scotland and of Britain, to make sure. I will do everything in my power to make sure this never happens again. All of us should be doing everything in our power to make sure this never happens again. But has anything changed since the grooming gangs, since this is all like been torn open? Because people have been trying to out this for decades. Do you know? Look at the BNP in Keighley. They tried to out it then, and then that's when the establishment rolled out Nigel Farage and UKIP to try and stop this nationalist uprising. And why was there a nationalist uprising? Not because they were racist or anything like that. There was a nationalist uprising because they wanted to protect their own people from this influx of foreign monsters. No, and you're like, oh, has anything changed? Has anything changed? No. This was a post put up by Miss Jo, goes by the handle, the real Miss Jo. Hard to believe that this is true, but it is. PC Hussein Chabad was a Met Police Safety Schools officer, supposed to be helping the kids to be safe. So what did he do? Chahab admitted to 4 counts of sexual activity with a child aged 13 to 15. 3 counts of making indecent photographs of a child, and 1 count of engaging in sexual communication with a child. He was jailed in 2023 for 5 years, and it is possible for him to be released this year, 2026, based on standard reduced sentencing rules. So he got 5 years, be out in 50% of that. So yeah, should be out. He'll probably be out this year. And he'll still be allowed to live in this country. He's not going to be getting remigrated. But this is why we can never, ever have foreigners in positions of power, in positions of high trust, like the police force and stuff like that. It should only be the native population. And once again, let's hear what John Swinney thinks about this.
Refugees are welcome here.
So tedious. And then they want to tell you that we're the racist ones. We're the racist ones. Well, this was a news story from this week. Countryside to be made less white after report finds pubs make Muslims feel unwelcome. Nothing. They want to destroy everything that our ancestors built. Everything. So here's a wee clip from GB News of them speaking about this.
We've got a problem. Actually it's a lot about the national parks and getting people out there and making national parks for everybody. And one of the problems is dogs. And actually, this isn't just about the fact that a lot of Muslims find dogs very difficult. It is about people who do not know how to control their dogs.
Why do Muslims find dogs difficult?
Because a lot of they don't have dogs as pets. They have dogs as
But that shouldn't stop other people taking their dogs to the country, because there are some people there who don't like dogs.
But there are a lot of, as we know, and
hold that thought, guys.
There are very badly behaved dogs.
Time.
See you next time.
Why should people not be allowed to walk their dogs in the country? Because it's offensive to Muslims. Muslims are not native to our island. Muslims are not native to our continent. Muslims have over 50 Islamic states to pick from. So why don't they go there? Why do they have to come here and force their ways onto our people? But it's not just the Muslims.
Do you think this is a good thing? Do we need to diversify the countryside?
I think absolutely. It's been white for far too long, and the reason I'm not saying it, I'm saying it from the perspective that we have police officers that come from those particular areas, and when they come into built-up areas like London.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so if I say anything about that guy, like the area he lives in, saying it's too black or something like that, I would be seen as racist, probably get my name dragged through the mud more than it already has. But yeah, he's allowed to say that the countryside's too white. The countryside was built by our ancestors. Our ancestors were white. Of course it's going to be a white area. Our home nation, we are a white people. Like, what? It drives me a bit mad. Like fair enough, John Swinney on about refugees there, but look, this is a guy who's obviously an immigrant. Do you know, his family's obviously come over here, or he's come over here at a young age, or he's been born here, but that does not make you one of us. Do you know? This is, I'm saying, the grooming gangs, predominantly all legal. Axel Rudicabana, legal. 7/7 bombers, legal. Lee Rigby's killers, legal. The Manchester Arena bomber, legal. Do you know what I mean? Illegal immigration is such a small drop in the ocean, and for you to minimize that argument saying that it's just about race, it's just about the color of skin, you're doing a disservice to the victims of multiculturalism, the people that we've all been battered by it. We feel it in our work, we feel it in our bank balance. Do you know? We feel it in how we're able to live. But some of these people are wearing scars that some of us will never be able to see. Do you know, the emotional scars, the scars that deep bleeder, the scars that bleed more than any superficial wound that we'll ever see. Do you know, like Sammy said, there's so many of these people, so many of these girls that because they weren't listened to, because they were called white slags, and that's how they were viewed by the police and the system as well, they took their own lives. We should be up in arms about this every single day. Everybody should be taken into consideration that could be any one of us. That could be any of you that have vulnerable family members, you have young family members. Any one of us could be next. Any single one of us. Which is why we say never punch right. Because just because it makes you feel uncomfortable to say certain things and to think a certain way, we are happy to put our people first. We are trying to reset the balance, to give our people a fair shot. Our people should not be losing out on spaces in university so that foreigners can come in to fund that university. That's not how it should work. It is not how it should work. And John Swinney is saying about refugees, welcome here. Well, did you know that there has been, let me just bring this up now, just so that I don't misquote or anything like that, because that would obviously be the last thing that I would want to do. But did you know that the UK is the rape capital of Europe now? In 2000, there were 7,801 reported rapes. 2025, there were 71,667 rapes. Obviously, the reported ones, that's still going to be even worse. In 25 years, we've had a 900% increase. It's increased 9 times, and everybody knows exactly why. Now, let's look at Glasgow. Staggering increase in reports of rape and attempted rape. This was from the 24th of June. Rape Crisis has described a staggering 15% rise in the number of rapes and attempted rapes recorded in Scotland last year as alarming. Official statistics published on Tuesday show sexual crimes increased by 3% overall to the second highest level since 1971. And then on the 25th of November, so that was on the 24th of June, then on the 25th of November, you had this article, big rise in rape and attempted rape cases in Glasgow. Now, I'm saying we know why. We know why. If you don't know why, I'm about to tell you. Britain's asylum seeker capital, where the mood appears to be shifting. Glasgow takes in more asylum seekers than any other city, but its leaders want to halt its participation in the Home Office dispersal system as it struggles with demanding cost. Our people are getting fed to the wolves. Multiculturalism is a flaming caution that is battering our people. We never asked. We were never consented. And because of this, look what's happening. Our people are being silenced and raped and victimized by these people. We must stand up for the most vulnerable among us. If it makes me evil to want to stand up and make sure that this never happens to our people again, then colour me evil. Do you know? At the end of the day, I want what's best for our people. I want what's best for our nation, the exact same way our ancestors did. We fought in 2 world wars because our ancestors believed they were fighting for a better tomorrow for our people. We do not have a better tomorrow today. So it is now up to us to make sure that we leave a better tomorrow for our people. There's a pub in Forfar that when we do activism at the Forfar Lock, has recently, so we would go to this pub after we'd done activism for food and a couple of drinks and socialise, and the owner has now said that that we're not allowed in there, pretty much doesn't want our kind of people in there. But then the Homeland Party put this out yesterday saying this could be the tonic that our struggling pub businesses need. Traditional pubs were identified as a particular concern, with the report noting Muslims from the Pakistani and Bangladeshi group said that this contributed to a feeling of being unwelcome. So see if we remigrate all these people, there's not going to be anybody to be offended by the bar industry. There's not going to be anybody to be offended by our animals, by you wanting to go walk your dog. Do you know, it's about time we started rising up, not just for our people, but for our beautiful nature, for our beautiful animals that we have. It's the only way that our people are going to survive. I mean, the SNP, they are living on a policy. Their economic policy papers from 2018 onwards state that all of Scotland's growth will come from immigration under their governance. Do you know what I mean? See if we made it more tax beneficial to have big families. If we cut all benefits for foreigners and we had all this spare money for our people, do you know how much easier it would be for our people to live? We wouldn't have to be sending both members of the family to work, do you know, until they feel like they're financially stable enough to have kids. We should be incentivizing it, do you know? And you can call me far right and all that all you want. Fair enough. When it comes to immigration, I have a very right-leaning view on politics. I believe that the nation belongs to its people and that its people has an identity. But if you're, you know, I'm wanting Scotland to have this identity. I'm wanting us to be proud. And you want to make me out to be the evil one, I'll happily wear those labels. It does not faze me. But like I'm saying, my immigration politics may be right-wingly, maybe very right-wing. You know, I don't believe we should have any immigration here if it's detrimental to our people. Fair enough, in the 90s, you have people that say that everyone coexisted. That's because immigration wasn't totally out of control. People actually, like, what's the word that people, like, integrated, you know? But now you have these communities of people that don't even speak English. You've got streets of people that do not speak English. We've got foreign signs everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Arabic. Why, when you fly into Heathrow, do you have two brown people stood there welcoming you in, like on their poster? But yeah, I'm getting away from it again. Even though I have a very right-wing view on immigration, I believe that some socialist politics, some socialist policies are what's needed, but they will only work when they're for our people. I mean, all you got to do is look at Denmark, right? Denmark is run by a left-wing government. And the way that left-wing government worked and got into power is because they could see how much interest and excitement was building over their far-right opponents. So they started to integrate the policies of, like, benefits are only for the Danish people and stuff like that. But now they're having to decide what they're going to do because, like I'm saying, they have socialist economic politics, but what they did was allowed themselves to go very far right on immigration, because immigration should not be being used for our economy. Do you know, if our economy, because this is what I say, we are not an economic zone. If our people cannot survive on our own, then our people will go bust, you know? But our people were nowhere near going extinct when we started opening the floodgates to foreigners. Do you know, we were thriving. Scotland is beautiful. Scotland will always be beautiful. That's why we must unite the clans. We must be brave. Like, I try and make people so aware that it is no longer left versus right. It's good versus evil. It's whether you want our people to be replaced or you want remigration, which is going to ensure our people's right to exist in our ancestral homeland. Do you have the bottle? Do you have that moral courage to stand up for your people, for our people, and say, enough is enough? I don't want our people getting butchered in the street. I don't want our people getting groomed and impregnated at 12 years old by these foreigners and then getting silenced by the system. I want our people to thrive. We will be great people. I know we will. And remigration is how we do that. It's not ethnic cleansing. It's us restoring the balance. You know, we just want the treachery to end. We just want our people to stop getting put closer and closer to the edge. I want us all to be happy. So go out and enjoy your Tuesday. I hope it's not banging it down with snow wherever you are, but have a good one.